Hey there, welcome in. It's Heather with Heather's Healing, and I wanted to come and take a look at um, snake medicine and see what the energy of snake is bringing in for us in 2025. This Wednesday, January 29th, it is the Chinese New Year, and we are welcoming in snake. I believe it's wood snake. So, snake energy, snake medicine is coming in on this new moon. And I just wanted to see what messages Snake had for us and just see what's coming in. Um, I was born in the year of, I believe it was fire snake. So I have that snake energy. And I love snake energy. I think it's really wonderful. I'm not super familiar with the wood snake, so we'll see what comes in. But snakes, the energy of snakes symbolizes intuition, wisdom, mystery, and then in the element of wood, it talks about, I mean, a lot of things. But what really hit me was growth and expansion. I do believe this is a year of huge growth and expansion, whether you want to expand or not. I feel like we are all really going to be tested and really pushed this year. It's a 9 years, so that's also speaks of tying up loose ends, letting go of anything that has a weak foundation needs to go. Because we're going to build upon what is solid, and and then we're going to work on expanding and growing maybe the wounded parts of us, or the parts of us that need healing, or the parts of us that are ready to, that have gone through a lot of healing and are ready to expand and welcome in or pull in new energies. That to me is the 9 energy of the year that we're in. But I want to stay focused. Heather, stay focused. I want to stay focused on the energy of snake. Snake also symbolizes rebirth. I have some notes here, so I'm going to look over the notes. I've also pulled some cards, and we'll expand on the cards and see what energies those bring in. But snake energy also symbolizes rebirth, resurrection, and initiation. That initiation, I think, is really interesting to me, because when I say I feel like we're really going to be pushed to, maybe to a limit that we didn't think we could be pushed to. I feel like we're really, it's an initiation, it's a leveling up. We're all really being asked to level up, whether you're asking for that or not. It's coming in one way or another. um, the energy of snake is also seen as being very transformational and very healing. It's focusing on healing wounds, healing old wounds. um, Another thing that was really interesting to me when I was asking what is the medicine of snake this year, and what I heard is, snake is helping us reject the poison we've been subjected to. And I find that interesting, because that's going to be very different for everybody. So I feel like throughout this year, I think we're going to be bumping up against old wounds. I feel like we're going to be forced to look at, again, whether we want to or not. And I think that's what makes this medicine of snake kind of challenging, is we're going to be forced to look at the parts of us we don't want to see. What is the poison? What is the poison within us? And maybe, I think I'm just going to put a star here, and I'm going to write pull card, so we can pull some cards on um, this poison. I thought that was really interesting. Out of everything that came through, to me, that was like the most profound. We are, it's almost like this year is going to help pull the poison out of us. And again, that's, that's healing. What is your poison? What has been poisoning you? And it's probably something that has been something consistent throughout your life. Maybe it's taken on different forms, but it's been pretty consistent. So I think that's really interesting. Snake energy is also linked in with Kundalini energy, opening our minds, opening our energetic centers. Really interesting. That goes right along with the initiation and the intuition part. In Chinese astrology, it's said that those born in a snake year are believed to have the qualities of compassion and clairvoyance, and the charm needed to learn. So they're very charming, compassionate, clairvoyant. So I feel like a lot of people will really be able to connect deeper with their intuition. I think that will come up a lot this year. According to Chinese astrology, lessons that snake people born in a snake year need to learn. Um, Lessons with forgiveness, superstitions, and possessiveness. I found this very interesting because, well, one, for me, these are things I've had to learn like over my entire freaking life, and I'm sure continuing on. I think for all of us this year, learning to forgive and forgiveness is going to be huge. Letting go. When it says superstitions, I feel that's tied more into belief systems and conditioning that isn't serving us, probably never did serve us. I mean, maybe at one time. It feels more like that energy is linked in with fear. And I do feel like we're going to be tested to let go of a lot of our fears this year, especially if they're fears around fears that are keeping us small, energetically keeping us small, the things that stop us from going after what we really want in life, that type of energy. So when I say superstitiousness, that's what I'm feeling is coming through this for all of us this year. And possessiveness. Now I can be very possessive. So that is something that I, Heather, as a human being, that's like one of the lessons that I've had to work on. But I found that really interesting. Maybe I'll just jump right into this here. So possessiveness. So something, another thing, when I was asking Snake, I'm like, Snake, what else are you helping us with this year? And it gave me a whole list of things that I'm going to read. But we're in a fire year. So this is a year of fire. It's a combustible year. And if you are in the US, you're probably very aware of all of the fires in California. And when I read that possessiveness, we're going to have to look at our possessions. We're going to have to really look at the value that things bring to us, and do they bring value? And with this year being a 9 year, the universe is going to force us to look at things that we don't want to look at. If we've been avoiding looking at certain things, it's going to come up this year. And I found that possessiveness and possessions, looking at that, very interesting, as so many people have lost their possessions in fire. They've had no choice but to look at, what does that bring up? If you lose everything in a fire or a flood, what does that bring up for you? What kind of beliefs and conditionings do you have around those possessions and those things? You know, I thought that was really really profound and very pivotal. Uh, and I feel like this whole year is going to be like that. It's so interesting to me. And it's like, if you avoid things long enough, or if you put things off, you don't want to look at it, at some point the universe is going to bring it front and center. Like, you can't not look at it. So I thought that was really very interesting. Also, going along with, the year being a fire year and being very combustible, also having the energy of snake, which is renewal, and resurrection and rebirth. You know, you think about a fire burning everything down, you only have one choice but to rebuild. So I just find all of that very fascinating. And especially since it's happened in freaking January. I mean, just right out the gate. Um, and I also just want to, you know, send a lot of love to those areas and to anyone that has lost their home, loved ones, pets. Um, I just offer a lot of compassion and love. I can't imagine how horrible that would be. I mean, absolutely devastating. So I just my heart is with you. Uh, Fires are always just really fascinating to me. I don't know why. There's something to that, but that doesn't. Heather, stay focused. Oh, but I've got a ginge. Speaking of fire, I thought you were sleeping. I thought everyone was taking a nap. You're not taking a nap? Hold on. Oh wait, he's going out. Maybe. Okay. um, Stay focused. So the other things that Snake, I'm going to list the other things I wrote down that Snake said that they were coming in to help us with this year. Snake medicine. So Snake is going to help us balance fire and air energy. We might pull a card on that. Adaptability, accepting changes, becoming flexible in our thinking. Oh, the art of being still. I thought that was really interesting. The art of being still. Independence. Interesting when I said independence, um, I heard independence from government, independence from government. That's interesting. Healing wounds, graceful persistence, and I feel like, yeah, graceful persistence. I feel like this is a year we're really being asked to dive deep into what is it that you came here to do. What is your soul really asking of you? And being very persistent. But it's I like that they use the word graceful because it's um you're not forcing anything to happen. You are being very persistent. And there's a feminine energy there, which I think is really helpful because fire energy is very much a masculine energy. So Snake is helping us with graceful persistence. And the other energy that Snake is helping us with this year is upheaval. And I feel like that fits the upheaval that's coming. I mean, what a great word. This is a year of up. It's a year of upheaval. 2025 is a year of upheaval. There's no way around it. And I feel like we're all going to have some upheaval in our life to some degree. Some will be more drastic than others, but it's going to be. And I'm getting the image of a vulture coming in. So, you know, maybe vultures coming in to help us with this energy, helping to clean up the mess, helping to, you know, helping us to sort through what is meant to come with us into 2026 and what we are being asked to leave behind. Um, Really, really interesting. So those are kind of all of my notes that I've written down. That upheaval is really interesting. Okay, so snake medicine. What else would Snake like us to know? And I pulled some cards off camera. Should we dive into the cards? Okay, so we're going to save the cards that I pulled. We're going to save those cards for the end. And we're going to pull some cards. Let's look at the energy of poison. So Snake said that they are, the energy of Snake is coming in to help us reject the poison we've been subjected to. And I think I'm going to use Tarot of the Night, the Tarot of the Night deck. And what I love about this deck is the cards have a slightly different, a more poetic meaning. So I might look at the meaning in the book as well. So they're beautiful cards. So let's just go ahead and use these, and let's just ask a card on helping us reject the poison that we've been subjected to. Let's just see what Spirit wants to say about this. So calling in our guides and guardians to join us here today, to surround us in love and compassion, to welcome in a higher frequency, looking at the energy of poison. Snake coming in to help us with the poison that we've been subjected to. My camera's not down low enough, so you can't see me shuffling them, but that's okay. What are we getting here? Let's see. I need a bigger desk area. Okay, so we've got the Four of Wands. Ooh, we've got the Four of Wands and we've got the Seven of Wands. So we've got two fire energies here. So let me just tune into these really quick. So we've got the Four of Wands and the Seven of Wands. You know, it's interesting. So we're asking about the poison, and this is talking about, okay. I just heard the front door open. It's almost, it feels like it's too extreme. So the Four of Wands talks about the energy of celebrations, looking forward to things, happiness and joy, really just celebrating and enjoying life. And the Seven of Wands talks about, and let me show you what the Seven of Wands in this deck looks like. The Seven of Wands talks about feeling the need to defend ourselves, stand up for ourselves. It's a card of boundaries. But I'm also hearing it's the energy of restriction as well. I want to see what the book says on these cards. I do love the definitions that are given in this book. This is the card deck I'm pulling from. I just think they're really beautiful. So one moment here. So the Four of Wands. Oh, interesting. It says harmony is back. The light that shines upon me is a light of celebration and harmony. Well, happy times are here again. So welcoming harmony back in your life. Everything is finally at peace, including me. Gather loved ones. Take some holidays. Celebrate what you've accomplished so far. It says life is not a quiet river, nor always a mild dawn. That's why we must take some time to rest from it. And also create a place of peace in which we can enjoy the simple fact of being alive. Once regenerated, we will fly even higher and even better and even lighter. And then that's an interesting take. It's welcoming back happier times, but it's more focused on connecting with the people that you love. I want to say the people that you've rejected. You know, maybe this is also speaking towards healing of family members, healing of people that you've grown apart from, people that maybe you've really really resisted. If that poison is about, it's interesting. I'm also hearing resisting love and resisting compassion. So part of this poison is lack of compassion or resisting compassion, and also pushing away. it's the energy of not wanting to mend a bridge. It's the energy of being very stubborn and not wanting to mend a bridge. Let's see what this book says about the Seven of Wands. It says, defender of my land. Those evil branches are attacking me. I know the wizard who has bewitched them. Ooh, this ties into the superstition that the Chinese astrology was talking about. Those evil branches are attacking me. I know the wizard who has bewitched them. I know that he wants my land, but I won't back down. I will stand my ground. I have faith in my bravery and I'm ready to fight. If a fight there must be, I will defend my territory come what may. I am prepared and well armed. Maybe I'll win, maybe I won't. But in any event, fear won't have me compromising. What are you about? Uh, what are you battling? Are you ready to stand up for yourself? Interesting. So, and I think I find it interesting that this card says, you know, defender of my land. Um, what are you not willing to back down from? And that brings up that not wanting to mend a bridge. You know, if someone is coming, you know, before you and they're being very honest and sincere about wanting to mend a bridge, are you is your ego going to get in the way? Are you going to continue to battle, or can you find some common ground to compromise and welcome in the energy of forgiveness? I feel like the poison that snake is going to help us with this year is it feels like it's about personal relationships, people that are close to us that we've um, pushed away probably for good reason. But I feel like for some of those individuals, there's some reconciliation that is coming in this year. And are you going to continue to battle? I also feel like it's going to be really important to look at what are you fighting about? What are you battling on about? And is it worth it? Is it still that important to you, or is it more of an ego thing that you are holding on to that battle or that fight? I feel like it's this year is asking for closure on some of those people that we're battling with, and it does feel more like people. This feels very close to home, especially since we have the Four of Wands here, which talks about it's not so much the wider world and all of that. It's more local to you. The Four of Wands is a card that's looking at the things you celebrate, the things that are important to you, your family, your friends, welcoming back happier times. It's a card that can that talks about weddings or reunions. So it's very close to home. This isn't, you know, wide scale. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of healing coming around mending bridges. Um, and if we're not willing to mend those bridges, then probably just walking away from that. Where it's not, we can't continue to battle on, fight on about things like that. So if you aren't able to forgive, if you're not able to mend that bridge, then it's time to move on. You can't continue going on in your mind about that thing, that poison. That's the poison that really holds us back. And and this links in with forgiveness for sure. um yeah, definitely links into forgiveness, which is such a huge subject. And I feel like, well, I guess I'll just say, look at where you have resistance to forgiveness. What does that word bring up for you? If you're feeling resistance there, what is that about? You know, taking a look at that, because these are things that are going to come up a lot this year. And I just keep seeing, you know, homes being lost in fires. And how do you forgive that? You know, how do you move on from such a, you know, devastating situation? I feel like a lot of really big questions are going to come up this year for all of us. And it's about helping us to heal old wounds. I mean, these are really old wounds, I feel like, that are coming up this year asking for healing. And that poison, yeah, it's like you know, old wounds that have been festering for a really long time that we have done our very best to ignore, to not look at. We're going to be forced to look at it this year, so one way or another. And what I have found in my experience is it's so much easier to do the work ahead of time rather than waiting for the universe to force it in your face, because that's never super fun. So I wanted to pull a card on that. So looking at the poison, what else, Spirit, do you want to say about looking at the poison, pulling out the poison? So what they're saying here is it's a lot of our thoughts, it's beliefs, it's coming back to beliefs, how we're thinking. Poisonous darts is what they're saying, but they're thoughts. There are thoughts. Yeah, and how are those thoughts dimming your light? Let's pull another card on poison. What else do we need to know? And I love that we got the fire cards too, looking at the poison, because to me fire is such a wonderful way of transmuting, clearing, purifying. Fire energy burns really clean. What else do we need to know about poison in this 2025 year of the snake? Oh, they're saying, yeah, it's clearing out. We're clearing out the underbrush. We're clearing out all that is rotten in your life. We're clearing it out so that you can bring in um fresh new energy. And for some this could be more painful than for others. It does feel like if you have been um doing your work, if you have been working on healing yourself and working on um, just trying to be, I want to say independent, just trying to be the most independent, compassionate, loving, forgiving person you can be, I feel like you'll weather this year a lot better. Um, I feel like if you've been working on not being resistant to everything, I feel like this year will have a better flow. If you are in a lot of resistance, this year could be really tough, especially come around July. Um, I've just been seeing that in a lot of readings. July seems to be a very pivotal month this year. Anything else to say about poison and how they're saying Snake is pulling that out? Snake is pulling out the poison this year. So we're we're all going to we're all going to be subjected to that one way or another. And they're saying that with a lot of love. So what have you been resisting? Maybe throughout most of your life. What are you not wanting to change? What's one of the first things that came up when you heard the word resistance? I would take a look at that. All right, let's move on from the poison. I don't want this video to be too long. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's look at independence, because that keeps coming up. Independence. And they're saying that when we're talking about independence, we're not talking about doing it all on your own, but we're talking about you relying on you, and knowing that you are capable. Being independent isn't, it's not playing small. It's very much being open and curious to how you can do things differently for yourself, how you can welcome in new energy, how you can be more open to receiving energy, and it's working with others too. I I feel like it's really easy to see ourselves as very separated and not connected with others, because that's very much, especially in the US, most areas of the world, probably that's how we live. Um, and one of the they're bringing up again, one of the best ways to realize community is in disaster situations. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes extremes for us to accept help from others and for us to really step into our independence as well. I know they keep bringing up, the fires and disasters, but they're saying that sometimes that's what it takes for human beings to realize their potential and to be like woken up, to be like, it's like it's like the universe taking us by the shoulders and shaking us, like telling us, you got to look at this. Um, okay. So let's pull. I do want to pull a couple of cards on independence. What else about independence? Let me put these cards back in. Mm. Okay, so they're talking about when you're being independent, you're being a sovereign being, and it's easier for you if you are being independent and you're not relying on they're saying agencies. So this feels more tied into relying on, and again, this would be more long term. I understand. I mean, at one time I was on welfare, food stamps, all of that. So there's no shame in that. Um, but what Spirit is saying is those programs, they're meant to be short term. And when you're relying on someone else, or you're relying on, they're mostly talking about government agencies or relying on the government to step in and help you out. You have to subject yourself to their rules and their terms. And when we have to do that, we're not being sovereign, because we're playing by rules that maybe we would normally play by, or that aren't in alignment with us. But because we are relying on them for, whatever it is, money, support, whatever, it can make it harder for us to realize our sovereignty. So that feels definitely more tied in to, yeah, government agencies for sure. There's also the energy here coming in around victimhood. It can keep you stuck in the energy of victimhood. And I feel like the energy of snake is really helping us look at, how are we, when I say playing small, oftentimes that's, how are you playing the victim? How are you being the victim? Um, that's not an empowering place to be. So I feel like snake is coming in to help us, to help shine a light on the areas where we are holding victim energy, possibly from past wounds that have not been healed. Um, because the more of that energy that we can release, the more independent that we can be. Guess I didn't really need to pull a card on that. But let me just ask, let's pull a card on advice and guidance on releasing Victim energy. That one just came right out. Aw, look at this. We got the Lovers. We got the card of the Lovers. And what I feel from this is developing a connection with your guides and guardians. This feels very much remembering that we're connected to source, that we're divinely connected, and tapping into the help and assistance from your guides, creating that relationship with your guides and guardians, and allowing them, they're saying allowing us to help move through your energy and help release some of this dense energy, or at the very least showing you where you're holding some of this victim energy. This could be a place in the body where you're holding it. This could also be a frequency that you're holding that maybe you're not realizing is connected to victim energy. So developing a relationship with your guides and guardians is going to be really helpful. With source, having a spiritual practice that you can lean on is also going to be really helpful. That can be a really firm foundation this year. Balancing fire. What can we know about balancing? Snake is coming in to help us balance fire and air energy. So fire energy, not from a Chinese perspective, Chinese astrology or feng shui perspective, but from the perspective that I work with, I'm going to look at it from that. So fire energy is the direction of south. It is our life force. It is our creativity. It's our desires. It can also show up as anger and aggression. It's our creativity. It's also our intuitive channel. It's all of the elements you work with to connect with your intuition, but creativity is a huge one. That creative channel is the same channel that we connect with our guides. Air energy is, for me, the energy of East. It is our thoughts, beliefs, understandings. It is East energy is new beginnings, expansion, growth, being very open. It's communication. Communication is going to be huge this year, especially, and that's something the snake is helping us with. It's helping us balance the fire and air energy. So helping us balance our ability to communicate, our ability to understand our thoughts, and then the ability to take action where we need to take action. I know that if you have a lot of air, for instance, in my chart, I have, even though I'm an earth sign, my chart is mostly air. It goes air, fire, water, earth. Our earth is like, I have the least amount of planets in earth signs. So I find that interesting. But if you have a lot of air, sometimes you have a lot of great ideas. You have a lot of thoughts, but you don't take action. And so we can get really stuck. So snake is coming in to help us take action where we need to take action. And then maybe perhaps pause and reflect instead of just jumping into something. So let's pull a card on how snake is going to help us balance fire and air energy. And then I think I'll go over the 3 cards that I pulled that Spirit asked. Let me take this one. The Spirit asked for me to hold until the end. We've got the Empress. Number 3, Major Arcana card here. And the Empress is represented by Venus. So we've got the energy of love coming in. Interesting, we had the Lovers card as well. How is snake helping us balance? Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Knowing exactly what I was saying, knowing when it's time to take action and it's time to move, and knowing when it's equally important to pull back and to rest, to listen, to receive. So when is it your time to give? When is it your time to take action? When is it time for you to um, be that masculine energy? Because fire is definitely masculine energy. And then when is it time for you to, pull back, to rest, receive, go back into more of your feminine energy? So balancing the masculine and feminine energy is going to be really important this year, and Snake is going to help us with that. Because fire energy is masculine, and we are definitely in a fire year. Let me just read what the Empress card, what the author says about the Empress. I love the different perspectives that people have. So if you get a tarot deck, read the author's description of the cards. It can give you a different perspective, and it's a fun way to learn tarot too. It says, dreaming of an everlasting garden. I'm here to tell you that abundance is around you now. You must deeply connect to your feminine energy and give birth to all your potentials. I am the guardian of your inner garden so that you may feel free to express yourself. Express yourself. Air energy. The night is young and the world is rich, full of flowers that wish to blossom. You are one of those flowers. You've been growing ideas for a while, and now is the time to bring forth those projects. Connect with the beauty of nature. Be part of it. In your heart, listen to what Mother Earth has to say to you. I also encourage you to play a caring, nurturing, loving role for those around you. Feel and create abundance just like I am. And doing it in a serene way, and that taps into that graceful persistence that Snake said that it was bringing in. And I feel like that's also where your connection to your spirit guides comes in as well. So instead of being very masculine and going for something and pushing for something, we're being very persistent, but we're also heeding our intuitive guidance. We're listening and feeling into things rather than just rushing into things or forcing things to happen. This is also speaking to, us bringing our dreams and goals into blossom. I feel like we'll see that happen more next year, but snake is helping us this year. The universe is helping set that up for us this year. But we've got to pull out a lot of the poisons that are holding us back. Those are a lot of the blocks that are holding us back. So I feel like that's a really beautiful card, and I love the white on here. It's like purifying, cleansing, purification. Like I was saying with fire, the energy of fire is such a cleansing energy. It's such a purifying energy. It burns away everything that needs to go. It burns away everything, and then it lets you sift through what is left, and you can decide what is yours to keep and what is meant to just be ash. It's really interesting. Okay, so let's finish it up by looking at, interesting because my neck is hurting. That could be like, that's air energy. Communication. Okay, so the cards that I pulled, so this will be our final message here. And thank you for listening. If you've listened this far, I really appreciate it. So we've got the energy of the sun, which I love, Major Arcana card. The energy of the sun, we've got the Knight of Swords with his wolf. I love the teal energy. Alta Major energy. I was seeing that as I was saying, oh, my neck is really hurting. That could also be an Alta Major chakra blockage. And then the last card we got is Six of Swords. So here's the message. We've got the sun, just a really friendly reminder. Also more fire energy, but a reminder that there's a lot of beauty, there's a lot of wonderful things and experiences and people waiting to come into your experience. I love how the sun is just barely like rising above the horizon. It's going to be really important this year to remember that you are surrounded by a loving universe, despite what we see out there. Um, we're surrounded by loving energies that want to help us. We are constantly being encouraged by our higher self and by our guides and guardians. We are constantly being given signs and signals and being gently guided. But it's still our choice to accept that guidance or reject that guidance. I feel like if you are in a place where you have constantly been rejecting that guidance, this year will wear you down to the point where you'll surrender. It's that type of energy. So um, keep in mind that you are surrounded by light. Call in the golden ray. Ask for the angelic realm to bring in the energy of the golden ray. Metatron is saying right now, ask me to come in and help clear your energy. Ask source, ask whatever being it is that you believe in, to come in and clear your energy, your energetic space, your home, welcoming in the energy of joy. The sun is joy and happiness. It's a really high frequency, and in that energy of joy, it makes it a lot easier to connect with our guides. But it brings in just such a high frequency that it helps to, well, as Metatron is saying, it helps to pull out the poison. It's really hard to be joyful and, well, you can't be joyful and be allowing this poison to fester you. So I think working with the golden ray would be really helpful. So calling in that energy. And then we've got the Knight of Swords coming in right in the middle. I love that. I mean, this guy being on his knees next to his wolf, connecting with nature, but surrendering too. And it's almost like he's asking for guidance, like, what's the next step here? It's about bravely moving forward despite maybe feeling like you don't know what the hell you're doing. None of us know what we're doing, but it's like the energy of being brave and doing it anyway, stepping into challenges or trying something new or going for the thing that you really want to go for, even though it might scare the hell out of you. But it's moving forward, and it's bravely moving forward, and it does have that energy of that graceful persistence as well. It's a really beautiful card. Let's read what the book says about the Knight of Swords. I'm also hearing, you're not surrender to your thoughts. Don't allow your thoughts. Don't be a prisoner of your thoughts. Don't be a prisoner of your belief systems and your social conditioning. All right, so Knight of Wands. It says, or no, we're looking for Knight of Swords. Come on, swords. Knight of Swords. Where are you? There he is. Okay, charge forth. If you come to cross my path, know that I won't let anything or anyone stop me. The wild power of my white wolf and black crow run through my veins. Danger is a detail that I care not about. There's only one road possible, and it has to lead me to victory. Compassion or softness are not my concern at the present moment. I want to reach my goals, whatever the consequences may be. I feel you're on the same crusade. You have the quest to accomplish, and there's no stopping you. Maybe there will be collateral damages. No grill can be found by staying put and quiet. So move on further and further. Let no winter wind ever slow you down. Um, I really love that. Go for your goals. Go for what you are being guided to. So we all have those that desire. It's like a feeling inside where it's like, oh, I really want to do that thing. I really want to go for that. Those are the things that we're being asked to go for. And I feel like this year is preparing us to manifest those dreams and goals possibly this year, but it feels like a lot of that will come in more in 2026. And then we've got the Six of Swords. I feel like this is where I think this might be the hardest thing this year is the Six of Swords. This is a new path. It's going in a different direction. Um, it's moving ahead, it's laying your burdens down, and it's leaving the past behind. And with the energy of this card, here comes the Ginge. With the energy of this card, oftentimes you're leaving something behind that you really don't want to leave behind. It's something that maybe you've worked really hard for, you've put in a lot of energy into it, you don't want to leave it, and you've probably been holding on to it for a very long time. And it's going to come to a head this year where you realize I can't live my life and have what I want to have and be harmonious and joyful and also stay in the situation or hold on to this thing. So even though you don't want to leave it, you don't want to let it go, you are letting it go and you're moving in a new direction. And it's often moving into an unknown direction. It's moving into an energy that you've never experienced before. So that can be really scary. And I feel like Snake is coming up to help us look at all of those things that we fear, even the fear of success, the fear of living our dreams. You know, Snake is going to help us with that this year. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it maybe has brought up some ideas or thoughts. Um, anyway, enjoy 2025. Enjoy the ups and downs. And if you like this video, please like it. I'm really trying to grow my channel. And also, if you'd like a reading, the information's below. And you have until February 2nd to save half price. All right, you guys, take care. Blessings on your 2025, and I will see you soon.